Hi everybody, thank you for joining me today. I'm so excited because we're going to color with the new Prima Princess stamp. We're going to be using Sydney, and I'm going to ink up the stamp using VersaFine Black Onyx ink. And you can, with VersaFine, you can watercolor with it, okay? It's not an archival ink, but it does work with watercolors and it doesn't smear. You just have to make sure that it dries. So you can either heat emboss it with clear embossing powder, or you can just, hit it with your heat tool, or just give it a moment to dry and then start your watercoloring. I'm using my Misty tool so I can stamp it twice. And I stamped it on some Bristol Smooth cardstock paper, and then I stamped it on some Strathmore watercolor paper. So the first one that I'm doing here is using the Bristol Smooth. And the Bristol Smooth isn't necessarily a watercolor paper, so you have to be careful with how much water you're using. That's why you can see I'm stamping off with a tissue to kind of pick up some of the water. And what I found in doing the Bristol, I actually found it better just using the straight marker to the paper than using the marker with the water. I felt like it was running the risk of starting to like peel or kind of beat up, and you don't want to do that. So I'm gonna let the music play while I color through. And if you're uncomfortable using a water brush to get a good amount of water on it without it being crazy wet, then I would just use a regular paintbrush and a cup of water on the side, so that way you can manage how wet your brush is. Alright, I'll let the music play and I'll be back in just a bit. Okay, I wanted to come back in at this point because I'm using the actual watercolor paper right here, and I decided for this one on her skin tone I would use the darker brown, and I found I was more comfortable with the Strathmore watercolor paper because I didn't have to be fearful of how much water I used. Watercolor paper is made to handle lots of water, so with this one I could wet up my brush, and if more water was coming out than I anticipated, it's okay. I knew the paper could handle that type of amount of water. So what I'm doing, which is probably the easiest way to color with what I think the Zig Real Brush markers, is to wherever the darkest area is where your shadow is, you would put down the color and then pull out the color with the brush until it gets lighter and lighter. So here are the final pieces. What I did was all the bubbles, if I filled it in with color, like this one is the blue, I used the Nuvo Jewel Drops in the Sea Breeze because it dries clear. So if there's color behind it, you'll still see some. If it's white, you'll still see some of the white coming through. And on this one, I had a little bit of a mess up, so that's why she wound up getting a blue background, where initially when I stopped, it was all white. Alright, you guys, so make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share button. At the end of the video, there'll be 3 videos for you to click on if you want to see some other stuff that we've done. And make sure, if you're not a subscriber, if you click my photo in the middle, that will get you to the subscribe button. Thank you, and have a great day.